Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sunday was yesterday. Everybody knows that. That was the weekly close. Today is Monday, the first trading day of the week. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is almost at $72,000. The rest of the market is doing okay. It's doing pretty well. XRP is up. That's nice to see. It's back above 60, 61 cents. We're going to talk about it. But also, I just recorded a video, a Bitcoin video. I had a little bit of XRP in there, but it was mainly Bitcoin going over the possibilities. You're gonna want to watch that one. So I'm either gonna upload that one first, or I'm gonna upload this one first. I haven't really decided yet, but basically going through, a couple different ideas here with Bitcoin, and then also talking about um, very interesting things that you're not gonna want to miss. Just to give you a bit of a teaser here, this whole move was a preemptive strike, like a military strike, right? And what was it preempting? Everybody knows inflation, right? When did the inflation narrative really start to come out? Right about here, when it was already done. So this whole move, the market makers were preempting. They knew this would happen. So they bought the rumor, right? Which was really a fact. And then it came out on the news. Everybody's talking about it, right? Then retail figures out, oh, it's inflation. That means it's got to go higher, right? But actually, when the news comes out, that's when they distribute. So my question is, if this whole move is a preemptive strike based off the end result being inflation, right? What the hell is this preempting? That, my friends, is in the Bitcoin video. Either it's already out or I'm going to upload it after this one. You're not going to want to miss it, because what I talk about in regards to comparing this one to inflation to this one, it's really interesting, and I'd love to know your thoughts about it. But anyways, let's continue with the altcoin. So looking here at Theta, uh, what is going on with the price of Theta? Well, to put it mildly, we are still correcting. We are still waiting for that moment to occur. Now, I believe we are eventually going to continue pumping to the upside. You guys, the Theta community is sort of the best, you know, community out there. Really, you guys have been there from the very beginning, even before the XRP community, right? So you guys have been with me, and I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate the Theta community, and also being involved with, being a part of it, right? And getting to produce my ideas and opinions of the market, Theta and Theta Fuel, the whole network, and we're basically all in a group, right? I might not know your name, I might not know what your face looks like, I might not know where you live or how you're doing today, but we're all Theta brothers and sisters, right? And we all have this sort of circular group, this understanding of what we hold and how powerful it's gonna be, right? It already is, and where it eventually is headed, right? So we're still at the beginning of the beginning. But anyways, just wanted to say that real quick. Now let's jump into the price action. Now, just a very fast recap. Obviously, right, we've been, this was our first little opener here, sideways, right? We had our bull market, fair enough. And then we had our bear market, fair enough. And our sort of accumulation market, right? Because you don't really want to buy anything higher than this. And you don't want to sell, or you don't want to, I'm sorry, yeah, you don't want to buy again after, below this, right? Once you start leveling out, that's sort of where I start the dollar cost average. And then as it starts to level out, you get bullish divergence, you get Wyckoff accumulation, where you tag the low, then you get that strong impulse to the upside, right? So going back right here, the first theta video I had, I thought this is the moment that I'm going to come out and talk about something here. So didn't know if it was going to work, didn't know if it was going to fail. I just thought, hey, let's try it out. So here we are today. Price is going exactly where we thought it would. Now I think it can get higher than this. And my whole thesis has been getting theta in the retracement low and the retracement levels, right? So far, we're not quite there yet. We still got some room to go, but this latest move was a breakout. And, a big breakout like this requires time, right? Price action, right? Because that was a 310% move. That's a big boy right there. So that requires a substantial correction, either through price or through time, right? So again, I put out a Bitcoin video. Either I'm going to put it out soon, after this one or before, whatever the case may be. But I go into a lot of different ideas there. Some of them I haven't showed, but based off what happens over there is really going to be based off what happens over here. So the important thing is, let's zoom in now. Well, first of all, we have this big impulse to the upside, and now we're sort of flagging out here. That's actually good, right? When you sort of go sideways, it makes me nervous. But if we start to go down and we flag out in here, that's actually bullish, right? Because usually flags that go down break out. Flags that go up, right, usually break down. So the fact that we're going down, statistically, we're going to break up. Now, the other cool part is we have the bull market support band down here. So if we continue going down, and testing it, if we meet up with it maybe towards middle to end of the April, right, we could see maybe around that $2, $2.20, $2.30 level get tested. That would be nice to see, but it doesn't need that necessarily. Now, we'll talk about what I think is happening here on the smaller time frame. So maybe that's a bit too small there. Okay. So far, right off the bat, I see a descending triangle, which is bearish, right? But it's actually, when I say bearish, it's actually a good thing, because whatever gets us down here, right? Look, and by the way, look at the bull market support band. We have a new week, and that new week, look what it's doing. Even though we're trending down and sideways, since we have a new week, right? Look at the angle of the green line and look at the angle of the red line. It is increasing, right? The velocity is getting steeper, which is a good thing, right? So that means it's catching up. So we are almost at the verge of a breakout here. So it'll be interesting to see if we can break above that line, right? So let me, it's a little subjective how you do it, but basically we want to break above that line. You can say, oh, we already broke above it, but I like to readjust as we keep going. So there's your line there. Now, this line, we do have a slightly lower, if you do it from wick to wick here, it's slightly elevated, but to me, being more conservative, it looks like this is probably somewhat of a descending triangle. So, if that's the case, then you have A, B, C, D, E, right? Or actually, it would be, if it was bearish, you'd probably start over here, A, B, C, D, E, down, right? Statistically, descending triangles break to the downside. Now, the measured move of that would approximately be, let me put that there, and then I'll put this weight right down here. Look at that. Right down to the bull market support band. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. This is just one idea here, right? And these ideas will make more sense once you watch the Bitcoin video, 100%. But essentially, that would be the idea for Theta, is a move back down here. Now, the way we can kind of figure that out, we don't really have to know the answer right now. The way you would figure that out is if we come back down here, right, then it's going to look like it's probably going to bounce one more time and then come down. So look for that. But if that happens, I believe the correction is over, right? I believe it's probably over with, right? Because then you would have an A, you come up for B, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, like a diagonal, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like some type of diagonal. So you have an A, B, C. So you have a 3-wave move down on the bull market support band, which, by the way, we really would like to touch, right, and test, because that's all very bullish for that, to do that. And then we get this big, sharp move to the upside. Maybe we create, a little base down in here. We bounce around a little bit, then continue higher, right? So, May was looking pretty good. So hopefully we don't have to sell in May and go away, because the old saying, sell in May and go away. I mean, that's, sometimes that happens. But, April showers bring May flowers, right? And that's the same thing with price. So if we get showered, meaning we're going down, then maybe next month we get flowers, we go up. So that would be the first idea. Just because it's the first idea doesn't mean it's necessarily my primary idea. So that would be idea number 1. Now, the second idea, and then the way that idea gets invalidated, all we got to do is break above that line. If we can break above this, back test, and keep going, then it invalidates that move. Okay? So the next idea is to say this. Either, I wanted to see an A, B, and a C, right? And then we continue higher. And that would sort of be the idea, right? Basically, you have a 1, 2, 1, 2. Maybe we get 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, something like that. Which would basically be the same thing, right, as the descending triangle. It would be the exact same thing, just labeled differently. So that would be that idea. The other idea is to say that the correction is not over. We still have to go up first. So we have this move down, and then we have 1, 2, and 3. That, my friends, would be the B wave, right? So we have an A, right? We come down for wave A. We go up 1, 2, 3 for wave B, and then we come down into wave C, right? That would be, just a larger, more complex ABC, right? And then the whole thing becomes 1, 2, 3. So you have this 3-wave move that is correcting this 300% move here, right? So, that would be the second idea, right? The first two ideas are basically the same, just labeled differently. But that would be the third idea, is to, get this up here first. Maybe we can even break out, right? And that would be a flat. We come down and we can even break out, get everybody bullish, we're going to the moon, and then come right back down and then go to the moon, right? So it would be a flat. So that's kind of the ideas I got with you for Theta today. Let's see, is there anything else? Now, the reason why I don't like this could be a 1, 2, and now we're going up for 3, 4, 5, is because if you look at wave 1, we only have 3, So I would have liked to see 5 and then a three-way pullback, but we didn't get that. So, to me, it still looks highly corrective. Now, the way it proves that it's not anymore is if we have 1, 2, 3, right? We have 1, 2, 3, right? And then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Chances are you come back down. But the interesting thing is, if this has 5 and you break the top, you have an ABC pullback, right? Or maybe actually let me do this. This is how the correction would be over. We come up here, right? We get up here in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We break the top. And then we have an ABC pullback and we back test and we hold above this. If we can hold above with a back test, then yeah, we can continue higher. So we'll see how it goes. For my primary idea, you got to watch the Bitcoin idea. That's sort of what I'm thinking here. Now, what is that? Idea number 3, really? So the first 2 ideas are the same. That's one idea. The second idea is to say that this comes up in a flat, come down. And then the third idea is to say that this breaks out, we hold, and we continue higher. So, any other ideas? Again, there's so many ideas because you're in the middle of a correction, right? When you have point A and point B, there's your range right here. So many different things can happen in a range, right? You just don't really know. But as the pattern gets more matured, then you can start seeing different possibilities, and then you can start ruling out what it is, what it's not. So yeah, that would be pretty much it. And then any correction we get, further correction, like I said, it wouldn't be a bad thing because we still have this guy down in here. So if we come back up, test it, or come down and test it, whatever the case may be, let's just get it out of the way, right? That's kind of how I see it. Let's take a peek at the smaller time frame and see if we can see anything. So far, it's just, very corrective, 3-wave-ish. I mean, you got, I guess you can maybe say it's a diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be nice to see. We have an ABC pullback continue, or it's probably 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're in that middle, basically an ABC, and all that's doing is retracing this down move, right? So we had this big crash, and then you go up in 3 and you retrace the move. So let me see here. So basically, we already had a 618 retrace. So, is that all we get? Right? Is that 618, all we get? This come down and we retrace it. Maybe that's all we get and we keep going down. And that would make sense for the ascending triangle, right? I say let's get it over with now rather than have to deal with it later. So that's kind of where I'm at. Now, the good thing is, I believe we're still very, very bullish. Now, let's zoom out and talk about that. So once this thing is finished, wherever that may be, and it's usually around the bull market support band would continue going higher, but I would say somewhere around in there, around that, $2.30, $2 area would be a good buy the dip. Now, again, it could be done now, but I'm just saying it's probably not. So, like I said, when this thing is finished, what we can see here is a couple different things happening. So first we have a 1, 2, 3. Now we're getting 4, and then we get 5. We get back up to the retracement levels, and then that's the tricky part, right? Now we have 5 waves up into the retracement levels, right? Maybe we go a little higher, maybe not. But once that occurs, we get an ABC pullback would be typical. And then, to me, it would be kind of like entering reaccumulation before the next big move to the upside. So then when you zoom out and look at it all, we have a rise, crash, retrace. We go into reaccumulation. We go sideways a bit, and then we break out because it's going to be hard. We have all of this resistance, this cluster of resistance, right? So sometimes it takes time to cut and cut, right? It's like you have a dull knife and you're trying to cut through something. It takes time, right? So that's why you always need a sharp knife, right? But yeah, I think something like this could be totally in the cards. Now, I think we can get up to, it really depends where this fourth wave ends. But the fifth wave could be, let's put this here, and we'll go all the way up. And I don't know where we end yet, right? Maybe we end a little lower. So I'll just put it right about there. You kind of want to wait for the correction to be over with. And then let me change this to linear. So I would say, about $7, $7 to $10 would be a good area. So 10, somewhere up in there. I think that would be a decent retracement, right? And that really lines up with all of this up here and with all of this down in here. So here's the lower and the upper, right? So somewhere in there. And then if I pull the retracement from the very top, pull it all the way down, and that gets us exactly, look at that. That's the confluence. It gets us right to that 5618. So, like I said, between $6.50 up to maybe $10, $11 for that fifth wave, right? So we have 1, 2. Now here's the part that's interesting. What if the third wave isn't done yet? If that's the case, and I'd talk about that with Bitcoin as well. If the third wave isn't done, right? Let me show you what I mean. For example, let's say this is 1, 2, all of this is 3, here's 4, then we get 5. Okay? Then that would finish the third wave. Then you still have a whole other fifth wave to go, right? But then the only issue is now then you go into a big long correction, because then you come down ABC, right? You meet up with the bull market support band. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's what I'm saying. We don't really know if the third wave is over yet. So then the whole thing becomes 1, 2, all of this is 3, 4, and 5. Versus having it be the third wave is already in, right? 1, 2, and 3. But what if the third wave is up here? We don't really know yet until this thing matures more. But it could be that the third wave is done, and now we're getting 4, and then we get 5. So I go into this with Bitcoin as well. There's pros and cons to each decision, but basically, I should say each route. But basically, it's it's kind of shaping up maybe to take that high out. Now, it can turn into a larger correction and be just a bigger wave 4, right? So it really depends how big this gets. If it's big, then wave 3 is over. If we start going now, then chances are maybe the third wasn't finished. But either way, it doesn't really matter. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But the point is, I see us getting back into these retracement levels as soon as we figure out this correction here. So once we get this fifth wave, right, then we, like I said, we can chop around a little bit, go into reaccumulation before breaking out into a new all-time high. Because the big thing is the all-time high, right? When does theta eventually break out and go to the stratosphere? That could totally be this year. And the reason why I say that, and it's kind of like, you might not like it too much. You might not like it too much, but I'm going to show you anyway. So there's a CNBC article, and it's all over the news right now. It just came out 3 hours ago. Ripple CEO predicts crypto market will double in size to $5 trillion by the end of 2024. That is, listen, I don't care, there's a lot of people who make bold predictions and bold claims and things like that. But for me, when the CEO of Ripple says it, he's very well connected. When he says something, I definitely listen. Doesn't make that many predictions, and all of his previous ones have came true so far. So when, maybe it means something to you, maybe it doesn't. It definitely means something to me. Not just because I hold XRP, but because I've been studying Brad Garlinghouse and the people he works with, and they're very well connected. So they know things that we don't. So if the year is approaching to an end, if we only get to 2.5, or we're about 2.61 trillion. So let's say we only get to 3 trillion. He's gonna look pretty stupid. He's gonna look like, pretty dumb, right? But a lot of times people come up with excuses. Oh, because of this and that. But here's the thing, right? There's a lot of ammunition here, and basically, the key points is, and he's not, when he comes out, he's very, playing the optical game. He doesn't come out in, the XRP thing, right? For him, it's about the crypto market as a whole, right? As Bitcoin as a whole. He doesn't talk much about, XRP and his predictions for the price, because it's not a good look when you have the CEO of a company talking about that. There could be conflicts there, but basically saying, the entire value of the crypto market could double this year, citing the arrival of the first ETF, the upcoming Bitcoin halving, right? And basically right here, I like the third bullet point. He says the overall market cap of this crypto industry is easily, he doesn't say doubled, he says it's easily predicted to double by the end of this year. So that to me was like, whoa, well, it's easily predicted, right? Easily. As it's impacted by all of these macro factors, right? One of the other factors Garlinghouse sees is pushing the crypto market to new highs, and I've been saying that too, is the possibility of positive regulatory momentum, and that's the big deal, right? We should get stablecoin regulations. That's why, I talk a lot about this in the other video as well, but I go more in depth about what could be, that linchpin to really push up the market much, much higher. But so that's, just because it's XRP and the CEO of Ripple doesn't mean anything. He's talking about the whole market, right? So that's good. I mean, if the creator of Cardano came out and said it, I would take it seriously. But when he says it, I really take it serious because there's not a lot of things he misses. But anyway, he says, I've been around this industry for a long time. I've seen these trends come and grow, right? I'm very optimistic, he says. And I think a lot of it has to do with XRP. I think he knows something that's coming with XRP as well. But hey, if something positive happens for XRP, for example, I'll give you an example. If XRP, Ripple, the company, wins the lawsuit, some people don't care about XRP. They hate it. They can't stand it. But it doesn't matter. It's about the bigger picture, right? Remember, we're all on the same team. We're all on the same side. It's crypto versus all the other crap that's out there, the fiat system, right? What I'm saying here is the biggest case crypto has right now is the case against Ripple. It's not Coinbase. It's not any other small thing. It's against Ripple. The SEC bet the farm basically on winning against Ripple. It looks like they're going to lose, right? So whatever happens in this case will set the precedent for all cases to come because you think your coin is safe, right? Whether it be THETA or whatever coin you hold, it's not safe, right? If they can go up against a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate like the company Ripple, they spent $200-300 million to fight this thing, right? And I think a lot of it's pay to play. But the thing is, right? If they win, if the SEC wins, they're going to go after everyone. They're going to go after THETA. They're going to go after THETA Fuel. They're going to go after Ethereum. They're going to go after ADA. They're going to go after big name caps, right? It might not happen this year, next year, or next year, but eventually it's going to happen. What I'm saying here is if Ripple wins the lawsuit, then it makes it more believable that THETA won't have to go through the same problem. Because I don't want THETA to have to go up against the SEC. I've been through all that, right? Maybe not a lot of THETA community members know too much about, what it takes. Because I've been dealing with this for the last 3-4 years now. Because I'm invested in XRP, so I've been following it. I know how much of a headache it is. And I'm telling you, you do not want to go up against 3 to 4 years up against the SEC. It's hell, right? So it's important that they win this lawsuit, right? So not just because you like XRP or because you like Ripple, but because if they win the lawsuit, then it sets the precedent for all upcoming trials in the future. So then it begs the question, a lot of them are securities, right? But a lot of them are not. A lot of them are commodities and other things, right? So we have to win this so that, let's say they go and sue THETA for being a security. Well, then THETA's lawyers, they can use the Ripple defense, right? They can use their strategy or their, court proceedings, right? I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know all that stuff, but they can use that to their advantage, right? But if Ripple loses and then they sue THETA, just giving you an example, maybe they don't, maybe they sue others, but eventually they will work their way down to get everybody, right? That's their, the SEC doesn't care about because they're protecting investors from Ripple or because they're doing it for themselves. They want to make, that's like they sued Amazon, they sued Google, they sued Tesla. You know why? Because they sue the big dogs on the block. That's why. It's all about pay to play. If you want to play in my neighborhood, right, like the mafia, if you're going to do business in my neighborhood, you're going to pay me for me to protect you. Have you ever seen Tulsa King? That's actually a good, I think it's on Paramount Plus. It's called Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone. It's actually pretty good. And this guy's like an old school mob guy, and he comes in and Oklahoma red state, and he's just it's just kind of funny. But anyway, I think something like that, is going on just on a bigger scale. I mean, like I said, they did it with Tesla, they did it with Google, they did it with Amazon, right? They're doing it with Ripple. So What I'm saying here is if Brad Garlinghouse, here's the whole point I'm trying to make. Here's the grand finale, right? Here's the grand finale right here. If Brad Garlinghouse just came out and said, this to me means Ripple won the. I don't think people get how big this is. This is huge, guys. Not just for XRP. This is massive for Theta, right? He basically just came out. He predicted it'll be a five. How the hell could it be a 5 trillion? No, 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 no. Listen to me. No, no. Listen to me. How the hell could it be a $5 trillion market cap? How? How the hell could that possibly be if Ripple lost the lawsuit? Mic drop. Boom, boom, boom. Why would he come out and say that? Because he already knows. He knows. He knows. They won. This told me they won. Right? Maybe it doesn't get announced for a couple months. Maybe it won't get announced till later on in the winter. Maybe I'm totally wrong. This is not financial advice, by the way. I could be wrong, but come on. Why would the Ripple CEO put himself out there and predict a $5 trillion by the end of the year? That means he knows something, right? It's easy for me to say I predict it, right? Because I don't, I'm just basing it off charts and strategy. But for him to say that, he, his reputation is huge. It's on the line. So if Ripple loses the lawsuit, there's no way it's going to be a $5 trillion market cap because the whole market will dump massively if Ripple loses. And you say, well, Theta's not going to dump if Ripple loses. But here's the thing. Remember when the SEC sued XRP the very first time? And you go, what does this have to do with Theta? Because it has everything to do with Theta. If we want, look, I'm a Theta investor. I love Theta just as much as anybody else in the community. I want it to do well. So I'm trying to figure out, is that going to happen this year? And to me, the secret here is regulations, yeah, but also what happens with this court case. Because like I said, if Ripple wins, it sets the precedent, right? It gives people positive encouragement. It gives people hope and, a positive outlook for other coins, right? Because if XRP, right, is not a security, then that means there's many others that are not a security that they don't have to go through the legal battles, right? So anyway, if Ripple wins the lawsuit, which Brad Garlinghouse just basically said here that they do, then that means the whole market is going to react positively to that, right? Because, and if you look at Theta, right, is Theta going to go up? How could Theta not go up? If we're going to see a $5 trillion market cap, I mean, guys, we're only at $2.6 trillion. He's saying 5 trillion. Man, now people say, well, it doesn't mean anything. You had Wells Fargo guy said Bitcoin at 100,000 or 200,000, or you had a Bloomberg guy say 700,000. But yeah, maybe that's right. But we're talking the CEO of a company who knows a lot of what's going on. And the whole point of it is maybe he's right, maybe he's not. But it doesn't matter, right? The 5 trillion number doesn't matter. The point of what he's saying here is we're going to go higher. And the only way we can possibly go higher, he talks about, it's the Bitcoin halving. Oh, it's the ETF. That's why we're going to go higher. Yeah, that's true. But even that alone cannot get us to 5 trillion. Something much bigger has to be there. And I think that has to do with the lawsuit. Yes, XRP is going to be greatly rewarded with that. And you guys, probably some of you know my stance on what the XRP chart is, what it looks like, right? But the thing is, this is a Theta video, right? And what I'm saying is, If we go to $5 trillion or somewhere about there, right? That's about 100%, 90%, right? That's 100% from where we are now. And he says that's easily predictable, right? Where do you think that money is going to go? Yeah, it's going to go to Bitcoin. Yeah, it'll probably go a lot to XRP, but it's going to go to Theta as well. Because Theta, you know why I say that? Because Theta had a proper breakout, right? When you look at a lot of other coins, some of them are still close to their Wyckoff accumulation range, right? Basically down in here, their range is down in here, right? A lot of them are still there, but Theta had a real good pop, right? So it had that strong wave to the upside. So what I'm saying is, if Ripple wins the lawsuit sometime this year, I think it's going to drag the whole market up with it, because everybody's going to be excited that, not for XRP. People see, that's where people get confused. It's not about XRP. This is much bigger than XRP. It's much bigger than Ripple. This is the crypto trial of the century, right? It's a huge deal. Even the Bitcoin maxis say it's a big deal, and they hate XRP, right? It has nothing to do with it. It's all about the bigger picture of, if they win, I see people positively reacting to it. Now, could it be a sell the news event? Of course it could, right? It could be a sell the news event where, just like how this move was preempting inflation, and we didn't really get inflation till over here, or talked about it as much. Maybe this whole move is preempting, the halving, the ETF. Well, the ETF already passed, so you can't say that anymore. The halving's about to pass too this month. What else do we have? We need more ammunition. Well, I think the Ripple case, right? If Ripple is ruled, if they have a settlement, maybe they pay a fine, maybe they lose. But the point is, it doesn't really matter if they win or lose, because XRP is still not a security. Judge Torah has already ruled that. What they're trying to figure out now is the institutional sales and a couple other things. But even if they lose on that, it's not much of a big deal, because XRP in itself is not a security. That's the law of the land. But the whole point of it, right, is to figure out how much Ripple owes, if there's a settlement, right, or they're going to try to push it to a trial, right? But a lot of people say they don't have enough for a trial. The SEC just wants to buy time, right? They want to go to trial, even though they know they're going to lose. They just want to buy time for the bankers, right, and their CBDC. It's bigger than we think. So now, when I look at Theta Fuel, right, and Theta, look how primed it looks, right? Look how beautiful it looks. It looks exceptionally primed, right? We have this beautiful impulse to the upside, a correction. We established a massive Wyckoff accumulation base, right? We're at the end, sort of that ending phase of the last moment, right? Where we're consolidating. Remember the example that I've always shared, right? This example here. So, we can see, right? Theta is right about here. So when you look closely at that, right? We got to work it out, right? So we can start accelerating to the upside. Now, add that on top of the prediction, add on top of that of regulation, but then also add that to the Ripple lawsuit. If Ripple wins, which the chart looks primed to go up. So in order to go up, it's organically going to do so. But a lot of times it needs that catalyst. It needs that momentum. I'm not saying that Ripple case is going to be it. Maybe it's the halving, right? Maybe it's, it could be a lot of different things. But I think that Ripple lawsuit is coming very quickly. So we should know hopefully soon, maybe sometime this year, right? And then depending where the chart is, I believe still Theta and Theta Fuel has much higher to go, right? So for me, my target for Theta Fuel is between 25 or 24 cents and 40 cents. So if I put the Fibonacci on here, right, and I come all the way down, I would say between 40 cents, based on Fibonacci, between 40 and 50 cents. So 50 cents, right, is a good target to have. Now, I'm more conservative with that, so I would say probably somewhere in the 40s or mid 30s. I would just say between 30 and 50 cents is a good target to have. Now, what I think could happen here, and this is speculation, but I believe, and I've believed it ever since we were back here in October, right, talking about the need for a retracement. And so far we've been on track. Now, once we get in this retracement, then we start to flag out, right? We work through it. We can be a rise, crash, retrace. We go down into reaccumulation, then we break out. Maybe we just get a little bull flag in here, and we work through it before breaking out, right? The point is, if we get up here and the lawsuit still isn't figured out, I think that lawsuit, if we were in this, we come up here and we bull flag, I think that could be what sends us really high up, So he's saying 5 trillion by the end of the year. That's even more bullish than I can even think. Let's see. If I go to January 2025, so that's basically all the time we have left, right? So, do we break out? I think some coins will. I'm pretty sure XRP will. But the thing is, will Theta and Theta Fuel break out into new all-time highs? Now, to be fair, XRP has been going sideways for 6 years, right? So if I just put that in perspective here for the Theta Fuel chart, right? And I'll say, let's see, we'll start it from here. So 2021, so we'll go all the way to 2027. Right about there. Right? So imagine going sideways for that long, right? So this is what XRP did. It went up in a rise. It came down into a crash. It went up into a retracement. Then it came down into reaccumulation. And now XRP is right here. So it's primed. To be fair, I'm not picking winners and losers. I'm just saying it's primed for this. So and what I'm saying is, if that's the case, right, then I believe maybe Theta Fuel doesn't have to go rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout like XRP did, right? Certainly, definitely not that long, not even close, right? So, but yeah, I'm very bullish on the charts. I just want to see, a correction come in. Maybe it's finished, but to me, we haven't tested the bull market support band yet. Theta does look like it's probably a flat. Now that was the other idea too, right? With Theta, so we had this top, we came down for an A, we went one, or actually it kind of looks like a diag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? With a 3-wave pullback, and then continue higher. So A, B, C. Right, so we have this flat here. We meet up with the bull market support band, then we go. Now, if we start pumping up, and we take out this top, then it's probably going to look like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, which will be very bullish. Right, but either way, whatever the case may be, it needs to work itself out in here. So, I think it's looking very bullish. Now, add that with Brad Garlinghouse saying 5 trillion by the end of the year, right? So he knows Ripple will win. If Ripple wins, what do you think is going to happen to Theta Fuel? It's going to explode, I think, right? It's got to be good news for all of crypto, because I want you to think about who created Theta. right? Think about the CEO of Theta, or all the the developers and everybody there. What do you think they're thinking right now? Think about all the people who created Theta. What are they thinking? Do they want Ripple to win, or do they want Ripple to lose? They definitely want them to win, right? If they win, it's going to put less stress on companies like Theta and blockchains, I should say, like Theta and others, right? Others out there. Because then they can put more money, they can invest more, right? You're going to have more developers coming out for certain projects, right? Because a lot of people are scared. They don't know what's going to happen. It's called regulatory uncertainty. There's no uncertainty, and that's what these crooks like to do. They like to keep people uncertain. Why? So that they can add to their bags while everybody else is like, well, I don't know, maybe, yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know, right? They don't know because there's uncertainty. Meanwhile, these guys, they already know what's going on, so they're stacking their bags like never before, right? Because eventually we will get regulations, and the whole point of it is you want to be positioned before that happens, right? And then you add, like I said, the settlement for Ripple. It's going to give much more. It's basically like the entire crypto market just took a big Xanax and is like totally chilled out, like anxiety, right? Because everybody has anxiety from not knowing the outcome from Coinbase, right? The SEC is on a tyrannical takeover of crypto, right? You don't know about the election this year, right? Who's going to be the lawmakers, who's going to be elected, right? You don't know who's going to be in control of the SEC. You don't know if Ripple's going to win. You don't know when you're going to get regulation. Like, there's so many things people don't know. So what do they do when they don't know? They're afraid. They don't want to invest. But you and me, we know. We know eventually it will get worked out, right? And the longer it takes, so be it. The longer it takes, the more you are allowed to stack, right? Just keep working at your job. Keep working your job. Maybe, whatever you do, maybe you take a piece of your paycheck. Maybe it's only 1%. 1% every paycheck into crypto. In the next 3 years, you got a big bag, right? So I think it's going to happen sooner than that. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, basically, that's what I got for you for as prices, as far as price is concerned with Theta and Theta Fuel. Again, I'm very bullish. I just want to see this thing get worked out. I would like it to come down and test the bull market support band, then go back up. If it starts to go back up now, then it is what it is. But if we do come down, I would like to see it would be like a 1-2, 1-2. Then we can get a big third wave, right? And if this third wave gets us all the way above this top, then there's no doubt in my mind we're probably going to break out very soon, maybe even this year. We get an ABC pullback, right? And then bam, we go. So that would sort of be my most bullish case scenario. Is a 1-2, 1-2, a third wave near these highs around 40 cents, a three-wave pullback, not going below, this low here at 14. Actually, preferably staying above 22 and continuing rocking to the upside. So big things are happening this year. It's election year, so a lot of things could go wrong. A lot of things can go right. But again, I go back to Brad Garlinghouse. That, like, when I saw that today, I go, we won. It's over. Because he wouldn't have, why would he, if he wasn't sure he was going to win, why would you say that? You don't need to say that. Just keep your mouth shut. What prompted him to say that? Something happened, because I know Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and Chris Larson, they were in court about a week or two ago, and they were talking settlement. And then 2 weeks later or a week later, now all of a sudden, right, they're talking about $5 trillion. That to me is sort of a low-key way of saying, yeah, we won. He's telling his friends, right, without insider trading. And that's what insider trading is a lot too, is code. People talking codes, right? Brad Garlinghouse just can't come out and say, yeah, we're going to win. There's no question in my mind we're going to win, even though he's actually even said that. But the whole point of it is, it's not about Brad. It's not about Ripple. It's not about XRP. It's much bigger than that. It's the entire crypto market, because, it's kind of like, you watch those movies in prison, right? The little guy goes into prison and or whatever, and you have to beat up the biggest guy. Find the biggest guy in prison and beat him up. That way nobody will mess with you, right? And that's kind of how it is. The SEC looks and they go, well, we can't go after Bitcoin. There's no CEO. We can't go after Ethereum because they're not American. We can't go after stable coins because, not yet. And we can't even go after BNB because that's not American either. So who's left? Oh, yeah, XRP. Let's go after them because they're American. We can go after them. They have a company too named Ripple. Let's go after them, right? So that was the whole reason. So they went after the biggest dog they can find, right? And if they can tame that, if they can beat them, then that means if they can beat a company who spent $250 million to defend themselves, then what makes you think they can't go after every other coin on the planet? Which eventually, I think they will go after a ton of them. But the SEC would never have to do that if there was regulation. People want to know the framework. Why isn't there regulation? Because the banks don't want it. Why? Because, they want the SEC to rule by enforcement. They basically want the SEC wants to sue everybody, right? But if they had regulation, then they couldn't get all this money. So the SEC is taking advantage of the wild, wild west, right, of crypto. But once we get regulation, then everybody knows the rules. Then everybody can, play within the rules. Like if it's a meme coin, or if it's a layer 1 or a layer 2, or if it's this or if it's that, they have to be all in categories, right? And people treat them based on what category it's in. So Theta is a network, right? It's in a category. XRP is a token that's also on a network, but Theta is the same thing, right? So at the end of the day, I think we're going to see some good things coming along this year, and it's looking very optimistic, but we just got to wait for Bitcoin. Now, highly recommend checking out the Bitcoin price. Just real quick though, I already gave my thoughts on it, but just looking at XRP, even though you might not care, but look, this is another reason. Look how long we've been going sideways, right? When you go sideways, just like over here, you get a big move. We've been going sideways. We're going to get a move. Maybe we go to zero, right? But, if he's predicting 5 trillion, then that means he's got to know something. And we have rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. We're at that moment where something should happen. Maybe it takes another 6 months. I don't know, but it looks very close. Now I'm going to do an XRP video, a separate video coming up next. If you want to see that one, and I'll talk more about this stuff. Remember, this is not financial advice. I hodl Theta, I hodl Theta Fuel, and I hodl XRP, and a few others. But those are, my main heavy hitters. So, we'll see what this year brings. But to me, it's looking very good. And I just wanted to point out real quick, on the weekly chart, Look at the bull market support band. Look where we're at, guys. We're at the bull market support band. We're going back and forth. And look at this. We just had a crossover too. Look at the green, right? The green crossed over the red. And that's exactly when Brad Garlinghouse said that. Now, we did get a bunch of crosses here and here. But if you go back in time, right, we had a bunch of crosses too before we exploded to the moon. So you can see we crossed over, crossed under, or crossed over, crossed under, and then crossed over again, right? Several times before breaking out. And that's exactly what looks like is happening here. And you can see the weekly chart, right? Remember, I said it's not how you start the week, it's how you finish. We came down and we back tested it, right? And we closed above it. And now this candle is trading above it. Now, what's good for XRP is good for Theta and vice versa. So let's hope that this case gets settled this year and we can add that $5 trillion to the market cap. And may your wallets be, I was trying to say, may your wallets be forever lifted from this burden we've been in for the last several years, right, of bear market. And in Ripple's case, 6 years. Anyways, I appreciate everybody tuning in. If you want to hit that like button, that always supports, the channel, and drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about all of that? A lot of it's subjective and speculation, but hey, it makes sense, right? It makes sense to me of what's happening. So I thought I'd end the Theta video with a bang and say, look, once this wave gets worked out, I see much higher prices on the horizon, especially if we get that settlement. It's going to lift so much burden on all these crypto companies, and people are going to be, over bullish, over exuberant. And I think we're going to see something interesting, right? And they don't call it the greatest wealth transfer in history for nothing. Something's got to give, right? But anyway, if you want to support the channel, you can do so by leaving a tip in the YouTube tip jar. I also have a super thanks if you want to do that as well. Anything helps, definitely, because it takes a lot of time. I got to balance out my personal life, my trading, right? And then also trying to do YouTube, because for me, I want to get the information out there, and help people see, kind of with a different perspective of how these market makers do certain things. And also, I kind of want to do classes as well. People want to learn for themselves, but just watching me, for 10 minutes doesn't really give any insight. That's why it's a little longer, right? Mostly, about an hour long, so that people can fully digest the way, the thought process of doing things. But I kind of want to divide it up a little bit and talk about like selling strategies, investing strategies, how to mitigate your risk, how to tell if we're in a bull market, in a bear market, how to tell when to stop accumulating, when to accumulate. None of it's obviously financial advice. It'll all be educational. But yeah, and then also timing your entries and exits and just various other things that probably haven't talked about yet. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. I will catch you guys on the next one. And remember, I got a Bitcoin video coming too. So if you want to check out that, and then I'll probably end up getting an XRP video out today. So anyways, take care. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.